Welcome to the Tier 1 Breakout Racing League. I am your streamer here today, Wrathful, here with Phantom, BRL Phantom, my co-coms for the afternoon. As I'm sure we're about to see some pretty fast-paced driving as soon as everyone is here and ready to go. Welcome to the stream. Should be a very good race. We did see some pretty good action in our Tier 2 race just a few moments ago if you're watching with us there. Pretty interesting mix up with the weather going to dry right at the end there, so maybe we'll have an interesting race with some weather in this one. We'll have to see.
It's definitely going to be interesting seeing how weather plays out, because with France, it's definitely a hit or miss. If it's a dry race. See.
Looking pretty dry out there so far for our qualifying session. We'll have to see who jumps out first. 15 drivers this afternoon. I have to see who can make the most of it. Look like New Zealand RYAN is here this time around, so maybe these guys are looking to score a few points while he might be away for personal matters. Not 100% sure what that's about. Do I have no game audio? That's an interesting game. Fix that.
First two guys out are Chandler and BRL Williams on the soft tire. Chandler's keeping one fin panel, so softs.
Oh, Interior Titans in chat. How's it going, everybody in chat? Any predictions so far for our qualifying session? Who might be able to put it up there on poll this time around?
Definitely should be an interesting mix-up since we don't have our typical pole one sitter, New Zealand RYAN.
Well, that being said, who might be able to take it now that he's not here? If it's anybody's game.
Yeah, it could be anybody's game. No, definitely Chandler and Jared had pretty pacey laps when they were over at Canada, so hopefully they can transfer that over to the French Grand Prix.
Chandler's about to start a lap, as well as BRL Williams just in behind him. So some of these guys about to start on their first run here, and Chandler's already invalidated into turn 2. Not great for him. But we'll see how BRL Williams does, as he's probably going to set our provisional time, hopefully. Grabbing as much curb as he possibly can. Sets our obvious provisional purple in Sector 2, being the first driver to be able to make a run, but there is traffic ahead. Hopefully they stay out of his way on his run, or it doesn't give him too much dirty air coming down to the line at very least. What has he got for our provisional pole? 27.867. That's still pretty quick for a provisional pole. Who else is on a run on their way through? Ginger about to finish a lap coming down through the end of final Sector 3 here, followed by a Haas driver in behind of Alan Hugo, taking a lot of curb there and invalidating. Lots of invalidations already happening.
Here, see Jared right behind has also an invalid lap. Next driver to cross line with a valid lap time will be the Ferrari coming up to the line.
ABR Mattia, yes. P2 so far, 131.742. He's probably going to want a little bit more than that, but again, it's only a banker time for him, and even with that banker time, it's still P2 with everybody else invalidating so far. What are you doing, Ginger? It's crazy.
And who also sets a 31.1.
I find who might be on a run that's not invalidated. B-Dunk coming down through Sector 3, but he's on an out lap. And FinFan just started a lap, so we'll have to check in with him later. Perandi on a run as well.
As looks like Hoop's doing another run ride on board with him. He just set purple Sector 1.
Trying to check in with Perandi, see how his lap does before flipping over to Meanfern and Hoopalicious. See how it's going. Bit of a lock up into the final turn, but still looking like a very promising time. And that's going to be our new provisional pole. 4/10 up from BRL Williams. But yeah, and then we do have Meanfern down at the back. He came into the pits, and that means Hoopalicious. What is he doing? He's into the pits as well, so yeah. Means FinFan's coming down over the line to finish his lap. He's out on those mediums. What does he have? Give me a 29.3, not bad. It's still P3, but still a bit of a gap between some of these drivers out here. Different tires. Oh, New Zealand Ryan has joined. Just a little bit late to the party, but still should be able to get into his car and get a lap down in time.
While that happened, B-Dunk set a 28.7 on the mediums as well. Puts him up to P3, right ahead of number 1 FinFan.
Who else is coming down? Chandler's starting a lap. That Perandi just coming back to the pits. Alan Hugo's on an out lap. Chandler on an out lap. He's just starting his now. FinFan coming probably back to the pits. Williams on a out lap. Trying to find any of these guys on a long-standing run has been a pain so far. Oh! Jared has another invalidated lap. It's not gone his way so far.
Alan Hugo and number 1 FinFan also starting their laps again on the mediums.
I don't know if it's going to be rain in the race there, Zach, but that is the interesting prospect that we are thinking of. But so far, these guys going out on softs and mediums, but I think they plan to do a one-stop soft to hard. Perhaps on a run. Any of these other drivers coming down a little bit sooner, though. Chandler coming down to finish his lap. I believe it was Meanfern starting his ahead. Hoopalicious starting his right behind. So what has Chandler got? He's going to set himself P3 with a 28.6 on those mediums. So not a bad lap from him. Put himself into a pretty competitive spot for the French Grand Prix. Maybe jump back onto the softs at the end. But the clouds are coming in. So track conditions are going to be varying from this point on, I do believe. Clouds are rolling in, it's starting to get darker, less sun out there, so track temperature is definitely going to be changing.
As Alan Hugo comes across the line, sets himself into P3 with a 28.5 on the mediums.
That's an impressive lap. Let's see. Jared about to come down through. He's through sector 3. Had a little bit of an oversteer moment with the curb. Saves it pretty quickly. But I think he's coming back into the pits. Or he's going to start another lap here. Yeah, he's probably just going to start a lap here.
At least going to Zach's question about rain in the race, I'm pretty sure it's going to be dry, seeing how most of these guys are wanting to start on the mediums.
Mediums is definitely going to help the two-stop strategy at play.
Or even the one-stop, too, if they want to do the medium to hards.
Also a good point. Is rain coming?
It might look like it. It's definitely getting really cloudy out there, as FinFan has retired in the pits and Mattia has retired on track.
B-Dunk coming out for an outlap, and there's rain coming down. So drivers like New Zealand Ryan that joined in late and Axe are going to be on a bit of the back pedal, having to jump to inters, not getting a time out earlier. So BRL Williams and Perandi looking very safe up at the top now with the wet conditions coming down.
Yeah, this totally changes at least strategy for all the other guys, especially the two Merc boys, DRC Jared and New Zealand Ryan. Both haven't set a lap yet.
They're going to have to maybe fight their way through the pack this time around instead of sitting on pole. And that gives Perandi, Williams, and Alan Hugo a great chance to make something else of this beginning of the race. This is going to be an interesting Tier 1 race. We got lucky. We got really lucky.
Wasn't your typical F1 where you just watch the Mercs pull away. It's almost turning into how Quali was going with the German GP.
A little questionable with some drives, yes. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to improve much now. They were already invalidating, pushing the curbs to the limit before. But, yeah, Alan Hugo and Chandler are both up at the top, and they both retired, so Rondi retiring from the session. No more from him. He's back to the pits. New Zealand Ryan doing what he can on a lap to try and get it done. Can he get it done? Can he save his quality position in the slightly wet track at this point?
Looks like DRC Jared sets a 32.3 on those softs. Master Berserk right behind him, also starting a lap.
I don't think starting a lap now is going to do you much good, though. Haas Formula might have had the best idea. And New Zealand Ryan somewhat pulls out of his lap, not wanting to start on the softs, I think. Wanting to just get a little bit closer to P10, but not too much, I think. So I think he got his objective there of getting into P12, you know, starting a little bit farther up from the back. Same with Jared. Some tires were better than anything out there, as Formula is already retired, and Massive Berserk invalidating, having issues in the wet as well. So my other driver to not set a time is GSRX, coming in late to the lobby, unfortunately, just caught up with personal things, I'm sure.
Jared crosses the line and sets a 30.9, only improves by 1 spot.
Is he just trying to tiptoe a little bit closer, doing a better time than Mattia? But I don't know if that's...
It definitely
Yeah.
seems like it. It's not
I
improving
think that's
this
all
lap
about
as
just...
he's 2 seconds
Yeah,
down
just trying to
going
get
into Sector 1.
Just trying to get a slightly better quality position, I think. Was that a reset to track?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Intentionally crashing out. I don't think Stewart's like that.
And I can see why he's doing it, since it is raining in quali and no one else is going to set a lap. But still...
But Master Berserk was behind him, though. And he
And
still
also on a
has a
lap.
chance to put on a run. Yeah, so...
Definitely have to be up to the stewards and see what they think about that situation. As the only people on track are the ones still yet to set a time, Master Berserk and GSRX. Coming across the line, what can Master Berserk set? It's a 30.0, and that actually squeezes him in between the Mercedes of New Zealand Ryan and DRC Jared.
He slowed up as well a little bit to the line, retiring on track as well. And Axe invalidating there. He does have time to get to the line, though. It's not going to be a nice lap, but he's got the track to himself. He's going to make it to the line. Come on, Axe. What do you got? What do you got in the wet? Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. Thank you for retiring, saving us all the bit of time. Thank you for at least trying. I appreciate it as a commentator. But that will be it for our qualifying session. Barandi and BRL Williams and Alan Hugo taking our top 3 today on the soft, and a medium. So quite a mix-up of strategy going in. Obviously, your back 10 able to take whatever tire they decide to choose, but lots of invalidated times and a few different tire deployments so far, but everyone kind of conserving their tires for the race.
Yeah, so far it's going to be interesting seeing if Burundi and Williams can stretch those softs and do the... Definitely the softs to hards will make it at this race, but who knows if the actual race itself is dry.
So,
And
is a
it,
New Zealand Ryan going to be able to fight his way through the pack, maintain himself a podium position? Or is he going to be able to, or is he going to struggle to fight through people? I don't know. It'll be interesting. I know he's got tremendous pace, but so does everybody in Tier 1. So, I really don't know how that's going to go.
it also depends if he has to work his way through traffic too.
I
So
mean,
it's not going to be...
Ferrandi is already fast, and he's up on pole. Like, I'm sure he's in it to win it this race. I don't think he's going to give it up for anybody, even though BRL Williams is on his neck, probably wanting a win as well in Tier 1. So, everybody's going to be fighting for it. Alan Hugo maybe on the better strategy if he's able to hold those medium tires in P3 and, get ahead of BRL Williams and Ferrandi on strategy. So,
And Chandler, can't forget about him pulling in a podium position at Canada. And
that
I
is true.
believe he did pull the win too, if I'm correct. At least for the two guys starting in at P1 and 2, it's just going to be holding off the rest of the field on their softs as the mediums start coming into play. As it looks like,
Ooh.
at least tire-wise, everybody from Alan Hugo all the way down to Burapps in 11th are starting on mediums, while New Zealand Ryan on down are on the hards.
Very interesting. Perhaps the only driver in the back group to go on mediums, everybody else on hards.
After just seeing these tire strats, I think kind of just looking at this, Perande and Williams might be in trouble here, as the medium and hard tires do favor this track and the softs kind of die off pretty early.
Yeah, but if there's an early safety car or something, maybe New Zealand Ryan trying to make an aggressive first few moves, someone goes deep or something happens, contact made, whatever, safety car can still happen here in Tier 1.
Yeah,
And that could be the breath of fresh air that they need. Even a VSC will probably help them just to keep the tires cooler. But yeah,
yeah, as Perande and Williams, just looking at this tire strat, they're going to be almost begging for a safety car or a VSC at the start of this race. That's a free pit stop for them.
as we're coming down to the lights. And they're off, and a really good launch from some of these guys. Perandi gets an amazing launch up at the front. URL Williams, I think, is able to hold his position with his launch as well. So these guys able to filter through, getting ahead on those softs, doing what they needed to do. But Perandi taking a good drive away from even BRL Williams. BRL Williams is trying to leave the rest of the pack in his rear view mirrors and plus some. Chandler and Alan Hugo have swapped positions as there is more squabbling at the back of the pack. There's some contact made, it looks like, between some of the drivers here.
As it looks like Braps is making a move on ERS Ham Newton, going down to the fast right-hander.
Oh, it's a scrappy fight between many positions. Even B-Dunk is attacking at Hoopalicious up ahead. Got Chandler on the back of BRL Williams. Alan Hugo not too far behind either. So, like, it is just fights through this train right now on lap 1. So far, nothing too big. Light contact here and there. That's the way it goes on lap 1. Brandy setting your obvious fastest lap on lap 1. We'll have to see who's able to maintain it towards the end of the race. New Zealand Ryan able to get up through Mean Fern so far, but we'll have to see how he's able to continue on. Only up into a P11 so far. Taking a 3-second time penalty as well. Not going to help his run on the way through, but I'm sure that's the first of many time penalties for many of our drivers, as Mean Fern and Jared and others are having contact. And Mean Fern, I think, was put off and have to give up a few positions, unfortunately. Drivers are filtering through, but it is a fight. Oh, as Master Berserk loses traction a little bit. That's going to let his teammate through, and the Alpha Tauris, it's going to slot him right to the back, fighting his way through Mean Fern, who was put off earlier. But yeah, all these guys are just putting up a massive fight from front to toe. So not easy to get it all. Alan Hugo still fighting the back of Chandler. These two are the top two for the medium runners. So they are in their own little train. But BRL Williams still within Perondi's DRS range. He's not going to let that go. We have a yellow Sector 1. And that's Axe off. But is it off enough to cause anything? No, I think he's recovered well enough. I think that might have just been some curb or maybe contact into turn 1 with another driver. Both diving for the corner. So Alan Hugo now has DRS, making his way back into P3 where he started. 2 seconds back from BRL Williams and Perondi, but BRL Williams pushing hard to try and get a bit of a lead away from the rest of the drivers. Same with Perondi, both pushing those softs out as fast as they can.
So far, not a whole lot of movement has been going on with all these medium runners. Just been between the few mistakes, more of the back half of the field.
And Mattia takes a 3-second time penalty, so those are going to stack up towards the end. But Burraps and Ginger Rise and B-Dunk, everybody is just in this bit of a DRS chain behind Alan Hugo. So it's going to be hard for any of them to get a move done unless they really bust out some maneuvers. So hopefully we get to see some of those. Can BRL Williams get a good enough run on Perondi to maybe get a look at him? I don't think so. I think they're both on the same idea of, hey, we're the only soft runners out here. Let's just push. Let's just push. And we'll have to see how that gets on. Alan Hugo trying to stay away from Chandler, but Chandler having DRS closing in. Hoop having DRS closing in. B-Dunk, same. New Zealand Ryan still in 11th, but we do have some movement between Mattia and Master Berserk again. Back on the back of Mean Fern, who's probably got some tire issues of his own for Deg after being kind of pushed around. Probably not too happy about that, but hopefully he can recover his race.
Is on board BRL Williams. He's now actually right on the back of Brande. See if he can get a move done with DRS this time, going into the chicane.
He is much closer this time around, but with DRS, is it going to be enough? He's not pushing with overtake. Looking at the move, though, but no, quite gentlemanly about it. Said, hey, I'm still here, you gotta pace up, or I'm gonna overtake you. And hopefully Pirandi answers with, yes sir, we gotta get the heck out of all these medium runners. So, either that or they'll sort themselves out another way. And BRL Williams, I think, is losing patience and wants to get a bigger gap and wants to get ahead.
Same can also be said for Chandler and Hoopalicious, all over the back of Alan Hugo as well.
Williams dives into the pits. He's making his own strategy and sticking to it. Alan Hugo still 2 seconds away from our leader of Pirandi, still on softs. Everybody moving up a position now for BRO Williams, as he's done the earliest pit stop from the softs, but doesn't mean he's out of it quite yet.
Especially with this early pit stop, he's fitted the mediums and he's now committed to the 2-stop for this race, the soft, medium, medium.
Very interesting. Is anybody else able to make a move? It's all very close.
Ginger definitely taking a look on his own teammate, B-Dunk, right up on ahead.
Master Berserk able to make the move around Mean Fern on those hards.
And New Zealand Ryan also taking a few looks on FinFan, who's also trying to take a look on Iris Ham Newton as well.
Yeah, it's just hard to make a pass in that chain. It was great that the two McLaren drivers were able to do it, but I think that's only because B-Dunk fell out of Hoopalicious' DRS, mostly. He broke the chain.
As right now, going in and out of turn 2, Burraps is all over the gearbox of B-Dunk right now, looking to split up these two McLaren drivers.
But B-Dunk has DRS too, so it's not going to be an easy move done. I think Ginger's closing back in on Hoopalicious just a little bit.
Ooh, as FinFan looks like he went wide going into that double right-hander. Fell off pace for a little bit. Allows New Zealand Ryan to sneak up ever so closer to #1 FinFan.
BRL Williams having pace, already catching up to the back of Meanfern in Oz Formula. He's gaining quickly. Meanfern trying to get back around Oz Formula here.
And currently, just looking through the field, we kind of have our own little trios going on, except for the top 4 runners.
Ferrandi being swept up by Chandler and Alan Hugo into the DRS chicane. Oh, grabbing a bit of kick of oversteer, saves the car though. Koopalicious now making a look a move, but Ferrandi trying to defend well.
As we go back, there might have been contact with #1 FinFan going into the double right-hander.
With New Zealand Ryan, perhaps?
Either New Zealand Ryan or Ham Newton, because I know all 3 of those drivers were fairly close to each other.
Alan Hugo doing everything he can to break up the slipstream.
As Pirandi dives into the pits and sets the hards, and potentially bringing those hards all the way to the end of the race.
Chandler does not have DRS on Allen. Koopalicious does not have DRS on Chandler. Ginger does not have DRS on Koopalicious. But B-Dunk and everybody else are fighting viciously. So the chains are all breaking up a little bit over here, but Burapps and B-Dunk and Ginger Horizon still keeping it quite fresh for 4, 5, 6. New Zealand Ryan looking to catch up to look at that fight as well. Starting back quite a ways, but now up into P7 so far. Started on the hard, still needs to pit. Any of these drivers needing to pit so far, the only 2 have been Pirandi and BRL Williams.
As currently,
As
Burapps are now
B-Dunk has
fighting
a bit of
and makes a move around B-Dunk.
yeah, B-Dunk had a bit of an error, and Burapps has got his way through, has DRS, and so does B-Dunk though, so now they're going to be fighting it out all the way through. But yeah, Alan Hugo into the pits, getting off of those mediums, so these guys going from medium hard to the end. Where did Alan Hugo end up? He's ahead of Pirandi, but he is behind BRL Williams. Aha! Interesting. So BRL Williams, in theory, ahead of Pirandi and Alan Hugo on that mark, but he's still the one that needs to pit, as Alan Hugo and Pirandi are probably going right to the end, but are those old hards going to have the pace to the BRL Williams double stack of medium? Is a safety car maybe going to give him an edge? Who knows? Jared trying to close in on Ham Newton, but B-Dunk's still very close to Burapps. New Zealand Ryan hasn't gained a whole lot quite yet on them, but looks like these medium tires are going to start falling off in the next few laps, and there's going to be a cycling of drivers into the pits as B-Dunk is into the pits now, as I say that. and FinFan into the pits as well, so we'll have to see how that changes up things. Guessing BRL Williams is just going to keep sneaking his way through the crowd with the pit stop strategy of everybody else doing the long stints, and now that he's gotten off earlier, he's able to sort his way into a bit of a lead for himself, a gap.
Right now, the closest battles right now is DRC Jared all over the back of ERS Ham Newton. See if the move can be done. Looks to the outside for Jared and makes his way around Ham Newton right before the chicane. See if Alan Hugo can do the same on BRL Williams. Alan Hugo to the inside, gets the job done right before the chicane as well. So if I was BRL Williams, at least for this race, I'd try to at least just stick on with Alan Hugo, try not to make any aggressive moves, and just make those mediums last as long as they can.
Supalicious and Chandler are now into the pits. So, Burrap's into the pits. New Zealand Ryan now returning up to P1 right now on the hard tires. Everybody else have made a pit. DRC Jared taking P2 for right now. His strategy looking at going mediums to the end. I'm sure New Zealand Ryan is looking at doing the same. Alan Hugo on his way through. Where does he slot? He's going to slot himself in P3 just behind Master Berserk. A little bit ways back from Jared, but not doing too bad for himself.
It does look like the two McLaren drivers have got the job done on the undercut, with Burraps just coming out behind him.
Well done from the two of them. BRL Williams having DRS, but not having enough battery to get it done. I also think he's just trying to use the DRS chain to keep him going. He knows Alan Hugo's tires are going to fall off, and he just needs to keep his pace up through the stint.
As B-Dunk actually looked like he went to the inside, and Oz Formula holding him off for now. And Ginger Horizon actually taking a look on his own teammate, B-Dunk, at the off-cambered left-hander. Leave turn 12.
Yeah, these two are just scrapping it out.
Perhaps takes a look on the outside going into turn 1. Ooh, and barely leaves his Oz Formula any room going into turn 1 and 2, but gets the job done.
Alan Hugo caught onto the back of Master Berserk, has DRS. BRL Williams has DRS. Is he going to be able to make it done from a second back? Alan Hugo doing a little happy wiggle, I think. I don't know if that was just for traction or what was going on there. The BRL Williams is going to try to sort his way back to Master Berserk. Sure, their DEG is going to be somewhat comparable at this point. 12 lap hards to 7 lap mediums.
Currently the two leader, both McLaren drivers, are within 3/10 of each other going in right before the end of Sector 1. See if DRC Jared is going to make a move on New Zealand Ryan at all. Doesn't look like he gets the move done. He just stays behind his teammate, New Zealand Ryan.
Brandy's closing in on BRL Williams. It won't be this lap. Might be another few laps, but Pirandi trying to get closer. Chandler's still not out of the mix either. He's still half a second off Pirandi as well.
As Master Berserker actually gets around Alan Hugo. And goes into the pits.
But BRL Williams won't have DRS on Alan Hugo, and he's got to get outside of Pirandi's DRS range. So right now, New Zealand Ryan back to P11 after all that work. We'll have to see what happens to Jared on his way through, as he still needs to pit, I'm guessing, this lap.
I have a feeling Jared's going to be at least coming out right beside ERS Tam Newton, if not behind him. Looks like DRC Jared sticks out one more lap on those hards.
Axe into the pits now. Cross Formula into the pits. BRL Williams on his new stack to the end. And now that everyone's on older hard tire to the end, BRL Williams has to fight his way through the pack on fresh mediums. I have to see how that goes for him. DRC Jared and ABR Mattia going the distance on those hards.
Currently, our provisional pole sitter is Alan Hugo. Brandi right behind, and Chandler looking to make a move on Brandi. And as DRC Jared makes his way into the pits, see if he comes out right by about ERS Tam Newton.
As BRL Williams is already through Mattia, now chasing down Master Berserk. Is Jared, yeah, coming out of the pits. But is he going to be ahead of BRL Williams? He is. No safety car has kind of caught BRL Williams out on that two-stop strategy, unfortunately. And it is a pain to try and stretch out those softs. We all saw Pirandi not having a very good luck at trying to string those out 9 laps. It just cost him a little bit too much pace. Just the sauce around France, not exactly your friend.
Really only 10 laps to go for this race. The rest of the field still doesn't have to make any more pit stops unless a safety car or even a VS comes out. One thing that we all know that will definitely mix up this field is track penalties.
Definitely will. Track penalties are already being quite prevalent, as several have been popping up throughout the entire stream. I know New Zealand Ryan has a few himself. Everyone, I think, has taken their few punches here at France today.
Speaking of track penalties, I'll look up 5 and see what they kind of all stand.
Yeah, it's fine. Not that big a deal. I like keeping it a surprise.
Well, it definitely is a surprise for our top 3 runners because they all have 2 warnings.
How interesting.
Any of them get 1 more warning, that's definitely going to be a podium swap.
Ginger defending hard to keep New Zealand Ryan back. He knows he doesn't want to let him through. McLaren team defending quite well, fighting quite hard. Chandler on the back, Pirani just up a little bit ahead though. He wants to get into that spot for himself. Right now he's got the best tires out of the top group. He might be able to get it done if he can get around Pirani and Alan Hugo, or at least have less track penalties. It'll be done for him.
New Zealand Ryan gets a little sideways going into the last corner, allowing Burraps to be all over the back of him.
He was fighting side by side with Ginger, which is slowing him down.
Definitely at this point, if I was New Zealand Ryan, I'd want to get through these guys as quickly as they can, especially the 2 McLaren drivers up ahead.
Chandler threw Pirandi on the DRS straight, and now 2 seconds out from Alan Hugo, fighting his way to that podium position to try and get that race win. Alan Hugo still pushing hard, not wanting to give it up. Pirandi will try and do everything he can to close in that gap, I'm sure. Jared is through Burraps now.
Yeah, there was a little bit of light contact going into that chicane between Jared and Burraps, but no wing damage. As New Zealand Ryan actually takes a look up the inside, going into turn 11.
That was a very bold move. He just snapped on it as soon as he saw the opening. Very bold.
And Jared does the same into the last corner. Looking on Ginger Horizon as they're both side by side. DRS open for both of them. And Jared makes the move stick.
B-Dunks is now going to have to defend. Maybe he'll be able to help his teammate out if he can hold up these 2 Mercedes drivers, but New Zealand Ryan already making some deep dives to try and close in that gap. Already trying to look to make a move. He doesn't want to sit back too long.
DRS open for Jared. Makes a move around the inside. As Jared takes a look too. and gets the job done as well on B-Dunk going into the hairpin.
Those are some impressive moves, I will have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Very brave, very fast, but goddamn, that was impressive.
Definitely have to trust the drivers around you to know that they're not going to, one, turn in on you, and also run their own line through the corner.
Oh, I would just be a little bit annoyed if I was Ginger, though, because New Zealand Ryan just sent it up him, and Jared did the same, so that would rub me the wrong way.
Now, if I was these two Mercedes boys, I'd try to be working together as best as I can to even catch up to Hooplicious, who's only 4.5 seconds ahead of New Zealand Ryan.
I think these two are always just going to fight it out, though. I don't think they care about team orders or anything like that. I think they just want to fight. As Jared dives down the inside, New Zealand Ryan with DRS. Again, he's done himself the alternate strategy, specifically, I think, to undo his teammate on a slightly fresher tire.
As we've been running, at least on board with these Merc boys, it does look like Chandler did get a move done on Pirani. So Chandler's now sitting up in P3, 2 seconds behind Alan Hugo.
Yeah, Chandler's been up there for a little while now. Rondi closed in the gap. He's holding him. He doesn't want to let him go. Hoopalicious in this weird bubble. He's just been 2 seconds back from these guys a lot of the time. I don't know if Jared and New Zealand Ryan will have the pace another 5 seconds up the road to try and grab him. With 5 laps left, it could be doable, but it's still a tall order. It's BRL Williams trying to fight his way back into the points. Him and Master Berserk are 12th and 13th. Two different strategies, but both coming on comparably soft mediums at the end of it all. Comparably worn. Finfan having DRS on Ham Newton. He's going to be able to try and close it in for a fight there. Burraps and B-Dunk and Ginger. These guys are just been fighting the entire time. They make it look like the real Mark versus Renault, because these guys have been on it the entire race. Definitely been able to count on them for a three-way fight.
Indeed. It looks like Jared is caught up Hoopalicious quite considerably this lap. Dropped it all the way down to under 3 seconds.
Yeah, it looks like Hoop's fallen off a little bit from Ferrandi, though, so I don't know what's going on there for Hoop. Maybe he's just slowing up a bit.
It could be with these hard tires. Not really favoring this track the best, as mediums are the better tire. So it could be their tire wear, just a little mistake with getting the back end loose. As Ginger Horizon defends up the inside against Burraps right behind. successfully looks up the inside for any of the drivers, especially Ginger on his own teammate B-Dunk. And Monty, it looks like he has retired from the
gone
session.
Straight from turn 1. Alan Hugo's going to pick up the leader.
And it looks like it's a full safety car too, so all these drivers who just dove into the pits going for softs potentially have a shot now, depending on all of their penalties.
Safety car will be in this lap, though, because it's right at the end of the race. These guys got to run back to catch up. Like, these softs will be warm catching up to the rest of the leaders, but they're all on hards, so this could be it. This could be the big run for all these guys to grab some serious points. B-Dunk stuck out on the hards, but Ginger getting the softs. Jared and New Zealand Ryan didn't get the stack either, so this is going to be interesting.
I don't think safety car will be in this lap. I do believe it's actually going to do one lap and then a safety car in.
You think so, huh?
Yeah,
I'm quite curious.
I've had this happen, I believe, in Canada with the league race, where we had a very late safety car call. And pretty sure it gives you at least 2 laps to run towards the end.
Oh, Hoop with a 5-second penalty. Collision with Jared.
That's definitely something the stewards will have to talk about, because I know we all were mentioning how people need to at least learn how to drive under safety car and keep at least fair distance between all the other drivers.
You're not saying that just because it's Jared and Hoop, right?
No, I'm not saying it just because it's them, but it is something that we have talked about. Just conveniently happened to pop up.
Happen to be them.
Yeah, because knowing how at least Cody's, as there we go, there's another 5-second penalty too. Just knowing how safety car is with this new game, it tends to slow down awkwardly mid-corner sometimes and catches a few drivers out. So everyone is caught up besides the 2 Alpha Tauris, GSR-X, Meanfern, and Oz Formula as well.
Time penalties are going to be crucial here then, as we're coming down.
As last time I checked, at least the 3 guys up in the podium spot only had 2 warnings, but that was 10 laps ago, so things can be completely different. And my guess is safety cars should be in this lap, so if I was these top 4 guys on the hards, I definitely want to heat up my tires. Because knowing Jared's pace and Ryan's, and they're on mediums, they have a potential shot at stealing away a podium, same with all the guys on newer softs.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of penalties across the board, so I honestly have no clue who's going to win this race. It is a 2-lap fight to the end, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what's going to happen. It is literally anybody's race. This is going to be a dog fight to the end. We got guys up at the front on hards that are going to have to try and hold it off. We got a medium pack of New Zealand Ryan and Jared, which is going to be still quite pacey. Ginger Horizon, the top leader of all these soft runners in behind, from 9 to 16, all soft runners. And they're going to want points. They're going to want to storm the top 8 and say, what do you got? Because we got the best pace and we got 2 laps left. Let's do it. These hards are going to be on old, cold tire at this point, just with the track maybe a little bit, and just old usage. They're dead.
Alan Hugo has a pretty interesting, almost late start. Going down to line, Jared. Actually, no. Chandler locks up, defending from Pradi and Hoot.
Contact to the back. Oh, they're trying to get through. I think that's FinFan's wing, though. It is. Trying to fight their way through Ham Newton. URL Williams trying to look for a move around. Oh, more contact made as that's Burap's off. FinFan, unfortunately, making contact with him. Master Berserk off and out. I don't know how that happened. It's gonna be a yellow sector 1. Williams looking for a move on FinFan, trying to get into another position here. Both pushing with overtake. It's not going to be an easy move done. But Ginger getting his way through some of these hard runners. He's going to be able to try and catch on the back of New Zealand Ryan. He's pushing hard. Can he get it done? Is he going to return the favor of New Zealand Ryan diving down his inside now that he's got the fresh tire and the pace to get it done? It's bittersweet, isn't it? It's bittersweet.
As Jared makes a move around Hoopalicious, almost doing the same thing as what New Zealand Ryan did to Jared. Or not to Jared, to Ginger.
Well, Ginger got back New Zealand Ryan the same way New Zealand Ryan got Ginger, so all is fair in love and war, I guess. As Hoopalicious has had a little bit of contact with Ginger as he's getting swept up by New Zealand Ryan now as they're all fighting for the corner. Ginger trying to look at Jared. They're gotten caught, and that's New Zealand Ryan into, Ginger. And Ginger, I think, reset to track, but yeah, that's pretty much it for his run, unfortunately. Hoopalicious falling down the order, I think, with that contact. FinFan still nursing that wing damage. Ginger retiring from the session. B-Dunk pushing hard. What can he do? Holding on to his position, P7 so far. URL Williams, our top runner on the softs. 1 lap left up into P6. He's got to chase down New Zealand Ryan and Jared. There are penalties still at play. He's fairly clean. Can he get it done this time around? I'm sure he'd be happy even on track penalties. Can Alan Hugo hold off everybody with track penalties? He's got a little bit of a gap. Chandler doesn't want to give it up either. He's pushing hard. Barandi with 18 lap hards going the long distance, but he's going to be able to maybe hold on to a podium position coming down to the end here. We'll have to see. Mean Fern and Ham Newton fighting it out. Light contact there, but Mean Fern trying to get around B-Dunk. As all these drivers are going to start coming down across the line, we'll have to see where they all sort out. Alan Hugo fighting for traction, doing a little bit left to right. I don't know if it's time to celebrate quite yet. It might just be time. URL Williams is going to move up. Oh, he's going to fall down, though, as lots of the penalties are coming through. Alan Hugo is going to take number 1 spot, though, so he was right to weave. He knew it, and he was happy.
Definitely an interesting play out with that late safety call. Or this late safety car, and all the drivers coming into pit for either softs or sticking out on their mediums to hards.
Yes, I'm sure the stewards will have to look into why that safety car was called such an interesting point in the race, but we'll have to see about that after. For right now, Alan Hugo is going to take that top spot with Perandi and Chandler. So well done for them to put themselves up on podium. All well deserved today. Able to hold out on that strategy, even with the safety car on those tires, and they did the magic that they needed to do.
Also does look like our podium finishers didn't have any penalties as well, so they kept their noses clean for those last 10 races of the race.
Oh boy, it was an interesting one. Lots of different tire deployments, lots of different pit stops, strategies going into the race, but man, what a turnout.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting race, seeing definitely all those different strategy calls from all the guys in the back starting on their hards. I do believe Alan Hugo's here. I don't know if Ferrandi will be joining us, so just waiting on Chandler. All right, we have Hugo and Chandler with us. Don't think Perondi will join us, unfortunately. We'll see.
Well, that is not what I would like to hear. I would love to talk to Perondi and ask him how his race was, but I would understand, if he cannot. But we'll have to get on with our other podium finishers then. You want to talk to Chandler there, Phantom?
Yeah, I'll definitely talk to Chandler. So Chandler, just kind of give us a rundown of how your race was, seeing that you and Perondi were kind of just together for most of that race.
Yeah, I got past Hugo on the start, which was good, but then just with the pace he had, he just quickly breezed by me with the DRS, and then he got the undercut, and then it was clear that he was the quicker one out of us two. And so I was just gonna hold on to Perondi, and for a bit it looked like he was kind of pulling us towards Hugo, but then he just was out of ERS, and then I switched to in front of him, and I just wasn't as quick as Perondi, so that was kind of it there. But then the safety car came out, and then it was just about holding on to position, which I did, and that was P2.
And then, with that, definitely that late safety car call, were you worried about any of the guys behind potentially pitting for the softs and catching up?
After seeing who went in, not really. We had enough people between us. We had enough cars between me and the people that pitted that it wasn't really a worry. My worry was just my restarts, because my restarts are always horrible. And it was actually kind of messy, the restart, but I was able to hold on there, so.
But nevertheless, still another podium, especially after your Canadian race as well, so I'm pretty sure you'll be happy with that. Plenty of points your way. As I'll hand it off to my other commentator, Wrathful. He can take it away with our winner for the French Grand Prix.
Alan Hugo. Oh boy, what a race from you. What a qualifying session. How did you feel going into the race with the rain and everything throwing up the strategy kind of in the air there for quali?
Yeah, it got a bit messy in quali because it wasn't actually showing any rain on the forecast, but yeah, got a decent enough lap in to start first of the medium runners, and then I had a bit of an average start. Chandler got past, but the setup was quite good. Like, it's the best feeling car I've probably had in any race so far in this game. Yeah, got past Chandler, and then I blocked off any fear of the undercut. And then on the restart, it was basically just a case of blowing up the battery to pull a second gap or so. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. No penalties either, so I'm pretty happy with that. Good to be winning a race in BRL again.
I'm sure it's quite happy for yourself to be winning a race in Tier 1. Not an easy endeavor at all. So congratulations to that one.
Thank you.
I'm quite happy for you. That was an impressive start from being on the top of the medium runners to being able to make the strategy stick. Brody and BRL Williams obviously having a harder time being 1 and 2 with their strategies.
I was quite surprised at how Perondi's tyres held up, to be honest. Like, it wasn't as if me or Chandler were pulling away, you know.
Yeah, I think he was just really quick today. It was just the tires that were letting him down towards the end.
Yeah, so. Probably, yeah.
But a great race from Perondi. I wish we could have had his interview, but well done from him. Greatly driven and well deserving of that podium. And we'll catch you all next time. I'm going to cut off the stream here. You all have yourself a safe and wonderful evening. And we'll catch you next time with our next BRL stream.